It's Monday, it's hot, and it's August. Where's time going? Hey beautiful people, welcome back. It's Sejal. Today's video is something that I'm actually currently going through and I really wanted to film around it. I want to get real and talk about pain. If you may have or know someone that may have a physical or an emotional challenge, whether it's something like depression or a condition like mine, like rheumatoid arthritis or something else, if you don't have a challenge, I'm truly happy for you. And this video is for people like yourselves, so you can gain some insight and appreciation so that you can relate to what someone may be going through hidden below the surface. Just because someone looks okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. And if you do have a challenge of any type, you're not alone. I hope this honest video may offer you some comfort as I speak about areas that may sound familiar. To make this content real, I'll use myself as an example throughout the video so you can truly relate to it, and I'll make it easier for people to understand. It's not about getting sympathy. The points in this video are relevant to so many other situations. By the end of this video, my hope is to improve the quality of life for those that do have a challenge and for those who know someone that has. It's only through understanding and awareness that we can truly help each other. When someone suffers a trauma, it can be so difficult for that person, far beyond the actual pain. For example, I'm sure many of you have been in a situation where you've had to miss out on an opportunity because you've been feeling sick in some way. Food poisoning, spraining an ankle maybe. And how many of you have felt disappointed or depressed as a result? Aside from the physical pain, you may have suffered mentally as well as emotionally. Sometimes it's too hard to talk to someone who doesn't know or feel what you're going through. And this lack of appreciation, no fault of their own, just don't get it. As a result, people with challenges are often left frustrated, reluctant, and in most cases, ashamed to actually talk about it. In some cases, because of this, they don't get the support that they actually need. Understanding the medical side of it is relatively easy.
But let me hit you with some knowledge.
Compared to truly understanding your feelings, and that's what I want to explore with you today. So what is rheumatoid arthritis? Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. It's a long-term condition that causes pain, swelling, and stiffness in the joints. And the condition usually affects the hands, the feet, the wrists, the knees. Because it's an autoimmune disease, this means your immune system, which usually fights infection, attacks the cells that line your joints by mistake, making the joints swollen, stiff, and painful. Over time, this can actually damage the joints, the cartilage, and nearby bone. When it comes to defining a flare-up, it's almost impossible to find a consistent definition that's universally agreed upon. Doctors and patients don't often agree amongst themselves or each other. Why? Because aside from the different types of flare-ups, depending on the challenge, a large portion of it comes down to the emotional side. Sometimes the naked eye will pick up a flare-up, just like mine in my elbow. Can't really straighten it. And sometimes they don't show at all, but sufferers definitely feel it. Flare-ups normally last hours, days, weeks, and there's no real pattern to them. Then there's chronic pain, which can last for more than 6 months, and it can vary from person to person. Both flare-ups and chronic flare-ups can take a toll on your mental health as well as your physical health very, very quickly. Okay, so now you know what a doctor thinks a flare-up is. But if there isn't a clear definition of what a flare-up is, and they can't feel the pain for themselves, how can they help their patients?
How many minutes of contraction pain did Piers Morgan go through before he decided
that cannot be what childbirth is like, surely?
He is not.
This is where feelings become so important. It differs from person to person, and it's a personal emotional subject. Specialists will often make their judgment and ask their patients to describe their pain on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so let's try the same now. I'll ask you some questions that you may be able to relate to. For each question, I'd like you to rate it out of 10, where 1 means, did you just flick me? And 10 means, it's so painful, I'm going to pass out. Even though each symptom will be different, I want you to go back and compare it to the previous questions and the scores that you have given yourself. I'll give you 3 seconds to answer, and I'll tell you what, I'll even do the same. I'll answer the same questions. I want us to create our own pain scale that's personal and only applicable to you. What's this got to do with flare-ups? It'll all make sense very soon. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate your last migraine? Here's one that I know a lot of us have suffered from, a stubbed toe. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that pain? Have you ever fractured any part of you? What would you rate that pain on a scale of 1 to 10? I've currently got a flare-up in my elbow. So have you ever banged your elbow or hit your funny bone? What would you rate that pain on a scale of 1 to 10? My last migraine was a 7, and when I stubbed my toe, even though it was bruised, it wasn't actually that painful. So on a pain scale for me, that was a 3. And when I fractured my knee, on the pain scale that was relatively high, that was an 8. So how does this relate to my current flare-up that's in my elbow? My elbow right now is actually really stiff. I'm very limited to movement, and when I do move it, there's this excruciating pain that sort of runs from my shoulder here, down my arm, into the elbow, and then down my hand. I struggle to sleep at night because if I do move, there's consistent pain that runs through the arm. And that's why I sound tired right now. I've got a croaky voice because I actually didn't sleep very well last night. And then I wake up really tired. I've ruined my routine that I normally do in the day, which is to work out first thing in the morning, but I just don't have the energy because I haven't been sleeping well. So in comparison to fracturing my knee, which was an 8, and even though it's different, on a scale of 1 to 10, right now the pain in my elbow is a solid 9. A scale might not always seem practical, but it's really hard to explain the type of pain that you're feeling in order for someone to really understand what you might be going through at a certain time. For some, the way I describe the pain may sound dramatic or exaggerated. After all, I am sat here talking to you beautiful people, and I'm on a pain scale at 9. There's a lot of recommendations out there on how to cope, manage, and ease your pain. However, people deal with their pain in different ways. There isn't a right way of saying what's right and what's wrong. Sometimes my coping mechanism is to put on a brave face and try not to show anything at all, because it's really hard for me to explain. And I really don't know what I'd want out of actually telling someone. And I really don't want people treating me different if I did tell them. Back in the day, this is all I did, and it was such a vicious circle. I would feel disappointed and upset when I actually let my hubby down because we would have to cancel plans, or we couldn't do certain things because I just wasn't feeling good. My pain sometimes sent me so far down, it became incredibly depressing because I'd just be thinking, oh my God, I'm going through it again. I'd become really grumpy, really frustrated. I was always tired, I was quiet, and I'd become really distant. I'd want to keep myself to myself. And then there's the lack of sleep combined with the pain. Trying to battle your day-to-day activities and tiredness quickly starts to affect your mental health. And then for me, one day things changed. I remember saying to my husband, I don't remember the last time of having that feeling of not being in pain. But by speaking to my hubby and letting him know exactly how I feel, gave him a deeper insight and appreciation of what I do go through. Through gaining a better appreciation, he'd proactively rearrange any plans that we had. He'd take out the trash, he would cook, he'd go get my medicine and do all of these things without me even having to ask. It also helps my mental health. Not holding it in takes me out of the dark hole that I was falling into. I've gained the confidence to be a little more open with the people that I trust around me, whether that's friends, family, or at work. Now, I'm not saying that I actually go around announcing my personal life to everyone, but I've found it useful to share when I think it's important. Being open and honest has helped the people that I interact with. People know that I'm strong and capable and not seeking sympathy. But fortunately for me, virtually everyone that I have met has appreciated the awareness and honesty. Support can vary in many ways. It's great help but sometimes it's even better to just listen and be there. People can research what can be done. My husband used to do this all the time, and then go ahead and book a doctor's appointment for you. But all you really need is someone to just listen, for someone to understand, support, and just be there for you. Sometimes all you need is an outlet. Communication is so important. Through these open conversations and my experience, I'm hoping it helps you, your partner, or someone you know who may be going through this. I know for me, if I didn't open up and spend the time communicating and talking about it when I am in pain and what I'm feeling like, I know it'd be a lot harder for me. Not only would I be suffering physically, but I would also be suffering mentally and emotionally, because before I used to store everything up. Being open and honest with my hubby helps him support me in the things that I know that I can't do. He's more appreciative of what I do go through and actively goes out of his way to make things more comfortable for me, and he's super supportive of that. Taking that helpless guilt feeling away allows him to know that it is okay and to just be there for me. We can't feel what someone else is going through, but we can understand through communication and listening. My hope is to improve the quality of life for both those that do have challenges and for those that know someone who has. And knowing that you can just appreciate what someone else is going through. It's through understanding and awareness that we know that we can truly help each other. I really hope you liked my video today, and I really do hope it helps you. If you do have any questions, please get in touch with me personally or leave the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching my video. Till next time.